Kiko Loureiro was born Pedro Enrique Loureiro on June 16, 1972, in Rio de Janeiro. Growing up in a musically rich environment, he was exposed to the diverse sounds that characterized Brazilian culture. His family supported his early interest in music, and he began playing acoustic guitar at the age of 11. By his teenage years, Kiko was spending hours each day developing his technique. His dedication to practice and his natural talent became evident early on, setting the foundation for what would become an extraordinary career spanning multiple decades. The 70s and 80s in Brazil presented a fascinating musical landscape that would profoundly shape Kiko's development. The country was emerging from a military dictatorship, and with political liberalization came an explosion of cultural expression. Brazilian music was experiencing a golden age. Rock music was gaining traction among Brazilian youth, though it was still an underground subculture at the time. By the late 80s and early 90s, increased access to international media, especially the launch of MTV Brazil in 1990, made heavy metal and hard rock more prominent in Brazil. This unique cultural collision created an environment where young musicians like Kiko could absorb multiple traditions simultaneously, ultimately forging distinctive voices that blended global and local influences. He was deeply influenced by Brazilian instrumental music and jazz fusion, absorbing the sophisticated harmonic approaches of artists within his own country. Simultaneously, he discovered the world of rock and metal guitar through legends like Jimmy Page and Randy Rhoads. The neoclassical shred movement of the 1980s particularly captivated him, with guitarists like Yngwie Malmsteen demonstrating the possibilities of combining classical music's technical precision with rock's emotional power. This eclectic mix of influences gave Kiko an unusually broad musical vocabulary that would later distinguish him from many of his metal contemporaries. Kiko co-founded Angra in the early 1990s with other talented Brazilian musicians. Angra emerged during a period when power metal was evolving, and the band sought to create something distinctive by incorporating Brazilian musical elements into the European power metal template. The band's debut album, Angel's Cry, showcased Kiko's impressive technique and melodic sensibility, helping establish Angra as ambassadors of Brazilian metal to a global audience. Over more than 2 decades with Angra, Kiko recorded numerous acclaimed albums, developed his compositional skills, and toured internationally, building a reputation as one of metal's most accomplished and versatile guitarists. In late 2014, Chris Broderick left Megadeth, and the legendary thrash metal band needed a new lead guitarist to fill some incredibly large shoes. Kiko decided to audition, but as he was down with a cough, the audition was conducted remotely. Kiko learned several Megadeth songs over a single weekend, recorded himself playing those songs, and sent the videos to Megadeth. Kiko's videos impressed Dave with their combination of precision, musicality, and respect for the original material. His technical prowess was obvious, but what stood out was his musical maturity and his ability to serve the song rather than merely showcase technique. Kiko flew over to Nashville for the final part of the audition, but based on the audition recordings alone, Dave had already made up his mind that Kiko had the technical ability required for the job. The two of them just spent the day hanging out around Nashville to see if they could get along well. Before long, Kiko got a formal offer to join Megadeth. The chemistry between them proved strong, with Dave appreciating Kiko's work ethic and collaborative spirit. For Kiko, working with Dave meant joining one of the big four of thrash metal, a dream scenario for any metal guitarist. Despite potential language and cultural barriers, as Kiko's English was still not that fluent back then, the two communicated effectively through their shared language of music. The mutual respect between the thrash legend and the Brazilian virtuoso formed the foundation for a successful partnership. Compared to his predecessors like Marty Friedman and Chris Poland, Kiko brought a distinct flavor to Megadeth's guitar sound. Where Friedman incorporated exotic scales and an almost vocal-like phrasing influenced by Japanese music, and Poland brought jazz fusion sophistication, Kiko contributed a more classically influenced and technically refined approach shaped by his background in Brazilian music. Kiko's solos were meticulously constructed yet emotionally expressive, balancing shred technique with memorable melodic statements. He also brought a more collaborative and grounded demeanor, having led his own successful band for decades, which allowed him to contribute constructively while respecting Mustaine's leadership. His experience in blending different musical traditions while in Angra added a subtle but distinctive dimension to Megadeth's sound while maintaining the band's thrash metal core. Kiko's most significant contribution came with the 2016 album Dystopia, Megadeth's 15th studio album and his recording debut with the band. The album proved to be a creative and commercial triumph, receiving widespread critical acclaim and earning Megadeth their first Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance for the title track Dystopia. Beyond the studio, he brought a positive, professional energy to the band during touring and recording. The Dystopia era represented a career resurgence for Megadeth, and Kiko's contributions were an important part of that success. In late 2022, Kiko announced his departure from Megadeth after roughly 8 years with the band. During the COVID pandemic, Kiko had been separated from his wife and kids in Finland while he remained in the United States for band commitments. This extended separation made him reassess his priorities and the demands of being in a band that required extensive touring and long periods away from home. Additionally, Kiko wanted to focus more on his solo career, educational content, and creative projects that he had less time for while committed to Megadeth's famously demanding schedule. The departure was amicable, with mutual respect expressed on both sides. Kiko emphasized that unlike many former Megadeth members, the split was not driven by artistic or personal conflicts. Following his departure from Megadeth, Kiko has had several successful ventures. His YouTube channel has become a significant focus, where he shares instructional content, gear reviews, playthrough videos, and insights into his creative process. He also continues to release solo music that explores his diverse influences and interests, which go beyond any genre or subgenre. His touring schedule has continued, but with greater flexibility, allowing him to perform clinics, solo shows, and small festival appearances while maintaining the work-life balance that prompted his Megadeth departure. He has also pursued collaborations and guest appearances, like performing with fellow Megadeth alum Marty Friedman in Japan. Kiko Loureiro's career represents a unique journey through the global metal landscape, from the emerging Brazilian metal scene of the early 1990s to the upper echelons of American thrash metal and beyond. His ability to honor his Brazilian roots while mastering various international metal styles has made him one of the most distinctive and respected guitarists of his generation. His time with Megadeth, though relatively brief, proved significant for the artist, the band, and the fans, resulting in Grammy-winning music and a creative revitalization. Yet perhaps Kiko's most important legacy lies in demonstrating that a metal career can evolve beyond traditional band structures. In choosing family, creative freedom, and direct connection with audiences over the prestige of a high-profile band position, he has modeled a sustainable approach to artistry in the modern era. His continued influence through education, solo work, and online engagement ensures that his impact on guitar and metal music will extend far beyond his impressive discography.